Yesterday we woke up to a horrible breaking story. Now this isn't just a football story. This is potentially a crime story. It of course relates to Mason Greenwood.
Just to start things off, when I woke up at 9 a.m. yesterday morning, I think we all had the same sort of emotions, just general shock. Harriet Robson announced on her Instagram and showed several photos with the caption, "This is how Mason Greenwood really treats me," and a very disturbing audio message as well. And that was about 5 or 6 a.m. So most people woke up to this information and then it was deleted around 9 o'clock. And since then, Mason Greenwood has been arrested. And after that, Mr. Robson released a statement to the Daily Mail saying Mason was a part of our family and that her phone was hacked.
Yeah, this is a story. There's going to be a lot to come in this story. I listened to the audio. I looked at the photos. They look horrific. And the first thing we have to say, the bravery, the courage of young Harriet. She is young. She's a teenager, 18 years old, to come forward with these allegations. It's very, very brave.
I think the first emotion I felt was I was just genuinely disturbed. I think it's the same a lot of you must have had. I never expected it. A lot of people idolise him as a footballer. After everything he's done, all the potential that he's had, he simply threw it away.
Yes, these allegations are of assault and rape. And let's talk about rape. Now, rape is usually a man on a woman. It can be a woman on a man, woman on a woman, man on a man. I actually know several people who sadly had to go through rape, including a man and more than one woman. It's one of the most horrific crimes imaginable to man, because it can actually destroy the victim emotionally, physically. It can actually lead to suicide. So if you've experienced rape or assault of this nature, 999, you must get in touch with the police. And if you can't do that, find a trusted family member or friend. You must bring this out into the open like Harriet has done.
And if you can't contact a friend or a family and you feel like you just don't feel like you can do that and beat that mental block, we're going to leave some links in the description to the Samaritans and other people that are always available to chat to if you've been through anything similar to this: domestic violence, abuse, physical or harmful. I really hope what Harriet has done will begin a chain reaction of more people that are going to open up about physical and even mental domestic abuse. It's very simple.
Very much so, Thea, but it's important. I took the unusual step this morning of speaking to a high-profile lawyer in the northwest of England, and he's talked me through the situation, because we have something in this country, and some of you won't like this, but it's called innocent until proven guilty. Now, anyone accused of a crime has the right to a fair trial by a judge and by a jury of 12 men and women. They've got the right to defend themselves, to get a lawyer and to state their side of the case. Now, a lot of people want this to be a trial by Twitter, don't they, Theo?
I've seen a few people online, they feel like they know the full story. No one does. It's an ongoing case, so no one can really know what's going on completely yet.
I mean, the thing here, Theo, is the best thing for us to do is to leave it to the police, because the police, they're taking the necessary steps. They've arrested Mr. Greenwood. They are interviewing him under caution. What they will do for the next few weeks, for those of the younger viewers, is they will put together a file of evidence. They will interview the accuser. They will visit the alleged crime scenes. They will find out if there's any witnesses. Were people in the room at the time, in the house at the time? Were there neighbours who heard anything? They'll put together a file of evidence. Now, if there's enough evidence there, it will go to what's called the Crown Prosecution Service, the CPS. They will decide if it goes to trial by a jury. And by the way, this probably wouldn't be in Manchester, because a jury of 12 people, imagine if they were United fans, City fans, you wouldn't get a fair trial. And this is the cornerstone of our legal system, Theo: fair trial.
To be honest, Dad, I just want to use my platform to say well done to Harriet. She's shown serious bravery and true courage to come out with this information.
Yes.
And I hope this leads on to more people doing the same thing.
Absolutely, Theo. Now, the reaction of Manchester United Football Club, who are the employers of Mr. Greenwood, have suspended him immediately. So he won't be going to training. He won't be going to play any games, which is the right thing to do. That's a very strong move.
But what I also hope Manchester United do is ensure that Harriet Robson is being looked after and given everything she needs now in the steps of what goes on, because it's very easy when this information's out and everyone's talking about you to just get messed up in the head. I just hope there's people around her looking after her at the best. And Manchester United, it's their job to do that as well. Make sure that's going on.
And this is a sad story in so many ways, and primarily because it seems like there's a very young lady who's been very badly abused.
Yeah.
But you look at the Mason Greenwood situation and you think, my God, what have you done with your life?
Good
because
point.
until yesterday, Theo, Manchester United fans, the faithful, and by the way, my lawyer's also a Man United fan, they idolised this guy. They thought he would be the next big thing. He's earning £4 million a year.
Dad, think about how many people would die to be in his position.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
he's gone and blown it in the fashion that he did. I think that's absolutely disgraceful. And I think what it comes down to is a lack of education. The money came to him at such an early stage of his life where he hasn't learnt simple manners.
Yeah, I think what happens, Theo, is these young footballers, sometimes at the age of 8 or 9 or 12, they get put in a football bubble.
Yeah.
Now, everyone around them, parents and coaches and friends, are telling them, you're going to be the next big thing. You're going to earn 100 million quid over your career. They get there, they play their first game aged 18, and suddenly there's hangers-on, aren't there? There are sycophants. There are people who want their own bit of money hanging around these players. And these young footballers, they don't have a real life. They're treated like gods.
Yeah.
Now, this is not an excuse in any way, but we should not be treating these young footballers as gods. Don't put them on a pedestal. We know a lot of these footballers. They're just ordinary young lads.
And this is what proves that talent is never enough, because clearly the talent was there. But if you're not a good human being and you haven't learnt simple things about respect and manners, then you will never be at the top of where you belong. And this is a perfect example of that.
And I tell you what, this is very personal to Theo and I, because Theo is 20 years old. I'm his dad, if you don't know that already. And Theo's in a situation where he's starting to get a bit of fame, a bit of recognition, a bit of money.
Yeah.
Every single day I wake up and I make sure that Theo knows the values of being a human being, that he knows the boundaries, that he knows what morals are, that he knows how to treat people, that he keeps a head on his shoulders. And this is what footballers need. They need a father figure, a mother figure, a guardian, a parent, friends, proper friends around them who are teaching them about life. You're not gods, you're just good at kicking a football. Never forget that.
And I think what's also important is now the police should treat this matter like anyone else. They shouldn't put him on a pedestal because he's a footballer and he's got a following, he's got money. No, he should be treated like anybody else who's done what he's done in court.
This is a very, very important point, Theo. You're a citizen first and a footballer second. And I'm going to extend this. You could be a prince or a prime minister or a footballer, but you're not above the law. You know what I'm saying there. The law of the land comes first. You cannot rape. You cannot assault. If you do that, you'll be behind bars, no matter what your occupation was.
What we saw yesterday morning was absolutely sickening. I was very underwhelmed by Mr. Robson's post to Daily Mail confirming that Mason was a big part of the family. And they also went on to say her phone was hacked. It's very difficult to wrap my head around that all adds together.
Yeah, it's important that we don't prejudge this.
Yeah.
I wish this wasn't all over Twitter, all over Facebook, all over social media. The police have got to handle this right now. But what we want to talk about is some of the lessons here. And one of the lessons, and a lot of you are young men watching this, is when a person says no, it means no.
Yeah.
And we could be talking about husband, wife, partner, whatever.
Anything.
No means no. That's one of the biggest lessons here. Rape is, like I've said, one of the worst crimes imaginable. And it can happen within a marriage, within a relationship. It's usually not stranger on stranger. Rape is an absolute no-no. And we shouldn't be using this word in the wrong way. People talk about, I played football and I got raped. No, no, no. Rape is a very, very serious crime.
And the fact he hasn't learned simple understanding. You learn that when you're first born, when you're a toddler. When you're told no, it means no. He's not wrapped his head around that. And the audio messages were simply very disturbing. I hope Harriet Robson gets all the support she needs. And that's all I have to say on the matter.
I hope that this leads to a proper free trial. This must go through the process. The worst thing that could possibly happen here is the evidence is not enough. It's not good for anybody. It's not good for Harriet. It's not good for Mr. Greenwood if there isn't enough evidence. Because what then happens? If it never goes to trial, Mr. Greenwood is never found guilty. That's a dangerous situation as well.
Absolutely. It's such a disturbing and horrible topic to talk about. I don't even like thinking about it. I don't like talking about it. I wanted to just wake up and talk about the Derby game, but it was on my head the whole day.
This is not trial by Twitter and social media. This is trial by a jury if it gets that far.